We're down at the sea terminal to see the plans now for what might be happening to the horse trams. When we did the interview on Friday with Minister Gawne, within hours that video went straight to #1 on our most popular chart. Jim Davidson's with us now. You can understand, can't you? Because I know since you set this up, you've had an amazing amount of interest in the public.
Yeah, we have. We were down yesterday afternoon on Monday setting this thing up for the opening today, and we were basically tripping over people who were trying to see the plans as we were sticking them up on the wall here. So yeah, a lot of interest from the public.
Well, we're going to show pictures now while we're talking of Option A, which technically is the one that was meant to be underway by now. This was putting the horse trams into the road as such, but on the side of the road and all that sort of thing. Hasn't got underway, has it? Obviously, things have gone back into the thinking pot.
Yeah, phase 2, as it was, from the sea terminal through to Regent Street was due to have started in September, but that's been put on hold now. The Minister has asked us to have another look at putting the horse tram tracks on the walkway. So we've had to look at some of the drawings that were available from the Iris tanks and to see if it was feasible to put the horse trams on the walkway. And it turned out that yes, it is feasible. So he's asked us to have another look at that, and he's also asked the public to decide in a way whether they would like the horse trams to be put on the walkway or to retain them in the road.
Okay, I mean, obviously this was all decided, but now it's back in there. But it's interesting looking at, for instance, the parking. When it was going to go on the side of the roadway, you're going to lose a lot more parking. Let's look at the new potential now. Mm-hmm. And we can see here that you have chevron parking on both sides for starters. And there it is, the red line showing it's just going to be on the side of the walkway. But after that, the two plans actually then mix back into the original plan. I didn't realise that even your option A as it stands here would have had them going along the walkway on the second part. So what's the difference? If they can go on the walkway in the second part where there's all the Iris project underneath, surely they therefore could have gone under the walkway in this part.
Slightly different at this end. At this end of the promenade, they have huge tanks, which are the main tanks for the Iris. The pumping stations down this end. The tanks actually extend from the first garden right through to Regent Street, and they're huge. It's a huge big tank. From the remainder of the promenade along, there aren't any of these tanks apart from when you get to the Queen's Gardens, which is out of the way of where the tram tracks are going to be. So this was the end where it was difficult, and this is why we had the tram tracks originally on the landward side of the gardens, because of this problem with potential problem with the Iris tanks. But as I said before, we've had a look at the drawings, and they can actually take the weight, and it just would mean a couple of the access chambers would have to be relocated to allow the tram tracks to go along there.
So a bit more expense then?
I would imagine a little bit more expense. Not huge. Just moving. It's not even moving. It's actually making them slightly smaller, the access chambers, so that we can get the tram lines through there.
Now, even with the original plans, as I said, it does end up on the walkway. How do you keep children and cyclists or anybody else just walking along having an accident with a horse tram? Because it's slightly different from being in the middle of the road, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's something we're going to have to look at. At this stage, we're just seeing if the public would prefer to see the horse trams on the walkway. We're going to take feedback from people over the next 3 or 4 days. And then once we've got that established that that's where they'd like it to be, then we'll start to look at the design in more detail. Yes, there is an issue there with conflict with cyclists and the public walking along the promenade. We'll have to look at that to see how we can best segregate that.
And one passing place, is that what you're working on?
At the moment, there's one passing place somewhere near Castle Drive on the promenade. There is an option to put in a temporary, if you like, a terminus point down by the War Memorial, so that, for instance, if the walkway from there to the sea terminal is being used for things like the fun fair and other maybe activities, then we could actually stop the horse trams at the War Memorial temporarily, so they can just use that part of the promenade.
As we come back, that is a car park from time to time, isn't it?
Yeah, but what we've looked at is that it's very rarely used as a car park, other than when the horses are out of season. So in other words, if the Christmas parking was to be put on there.
The Guild.
The Guild, yeah. The Guild runs just before the horse tram season starts.
Right.
So those sort of events don't really clash with it, so we don't see that being a problem. And the promenade walkway could also be used for parking, even if the horse tram tracks are there
And what about Christmas parking when you do have cars mixing there on the promenade? I mean, again, there's no horse trams, no ideas, specials, anything like that. So you definitely have none running together.
I wouldn't say definitely. I mean, the Douglas Council do have a Christmas horse tram, which they run. But of course we'll have to speak to them about that to see if that's going to be feasible. It may well be that they take that as far as the War Memorial, for the Christmas horse tram.
Okay. Well, people are interested coming down here. Then what do they do to express their interest?
Once we get set up here today, this display will be running from today right through till Saturday. From 10 in the morning till 8 in the evening. We're going to have members of the project team here Friday and Saturday for the duration. And there will be a desk set up here, and we'll have leaflets so that people can actually fill in what they prefer, and there are any other comments they might have as well. So we're going to genuinely allow people to sort of tell us what they think about the whole idea of putting the tram tracks on the walkway.
I mean, logistically, it must be a nightmare for you, because you must have had men ready to go on the project. Even though we'd been hearing, I must say, even when the horse trams were finishing that day, we were hearing big things from people saying it's not going to start. But you had people ready to go. Have you had to redeploy them elsewhere?
I believe so, yeah. Obviously we've, there's gangs of men there ready to start on site. What we have done is we've used them to do trial holes on the promenade for the remainder of the works over towards even further along. So they haven't been sat around. They've been actually doing sort of work that's worthwhile, so that we can actually see what's underneath, particularly on the walkway where the horse tram tracks are likely to go. We've had them doing trial holes there. So yeah, but they will, obviously if the work is delayed any further, they'll have to be deployed elsewhere.
When will the decision actually therefore be made, and therefore does it have to go back to Tynwald for ratification?
With regards to the horse tram tracks, I think what we'll have to do is look at the feedback from the public to see what they want first of all, and then we'll have to see, we'll have to look at the costs of actually doing that, see what the additional costs are, because of course there will be additional costs if it goes on the walkway. And then we'll have to look at the funding and that type of thing, and we'll then, I think we're going to be taking it to, initially I think we're going to take it to Tynwald in November, just to sort of see what the feedback is there, and then hopefully take it forward from there.
Horse trams next year? Yes, no?
Now that the scheme has been postponed and delayed, if the horse trams are going to go on the walkway, I can't see any reason at the moment why they couldn't run next season in the centre of the road.
As is then? Completely.
As it is, yeah. However, if the decision is to put the horse trams on where they were planned to go originally on the roadside, then they can't run next season. So it's a bit of yes and no.
You're probably surprised everybody else. We're having this conversation when everything seemed to be sorted and agreed.
It did, yeah. We were all set to go. The date was set on site. We were actually starting to set up the site. All the fencing was just piled up, ready to start. And it was a surprise, but I think it's a great, wise decision to hold back and make sure we're doing the right thing, and to review and have a look at whether we can go on the walkway.
So besides the horse trams and the extra problem there, will you be doing any work on the actual promenade during this winter?
No. Not if the decision is made to put the horse tram tracks on the walkway, then no, because there's no work can be done in phase 2. If conversely we can start the work on phase 2, if people want the horse trams on the roadway, then yes, potentially we can make a start.